Hello everyone and welcome to today's kind of tone tutorial, I guess. So I've been a fan of stoner doom, metal, grunge, sludge, doom, drone, whatever for quite some time, and I've always struggled to get kind of the similar tone as the classic recordings by the likes of Sleep, Monolord, Electric Wizard, and so on. Because I live in a small apartment and I don't have the luxury to be able to play some orange 100-watt full stack loud as fuck in my apartment, especially considering my girlfriend doesn't like the sound of it. So I have constructed a few workarounds to get this kind of sound in the computer, basically only using free VST software, and I'm gonna show you 3 different styles of doom, stoner, metal that you can get with these plugins. And first I'm gonna start with a demo and then I'm gonna explain how I got there, so stick around. So here I am. I have a few of the presets up in Ableton. First of all, I'm just gonna say I'm using a Harmony Les Paul knockoff from Korea, made in the late 70s or something like that. Standard Les Paul scale length, and I'm using 13 to 56 strings on it, tuned to B standard. So for the first preset, we're gonna check out the more of a sludgy tone, I would guess. So that would be applicable for bands like Mastodon, Horse, and Red Fang, whatever. We're just gonna start off with some semi-clean amp, a power amp, emulation, and a cab section. So in this instance I'm using a JCM 800 plugin from Nullex. That's set to the gain about 2. We're gonna boost the bass and middle and keep the treble at about 6 and crank the volume all the way up. And for these tones I found that it's the best approach is to keep them not extremely clean but at the same time not really gainy, because if you keep them completely clean it seems like the distortion or the fuzz just sits on top, like there are 2 layers. So you have like a clean signal and a fuzz or a distortion signal at the same time, which I don't like. So I'm trying to keep them just semi broke up, something like this. A bit gainy you could say, but not really stoner yet. I'm using the TP-A1 power amp, boosting the volume, keeping the depth controlled, so lowering that a bit, as well as the presence. We're really going for a bit of a dark tone, you could say. I mean, kind of dark, and let like the distortion and fuzz do all the work in the top end. So here I'm cranking the oversampling just because I can do it if you can as well, but, you know, get better audio quality. Maxing the bias, changing the tubes to KT88s. They seem to be the loudest ones in the real world. Lower the feedback and boost the resonance, and just fiddle with your output knob until the signal doesn't clip in Ableton. For the cab section I'm going with 2 Marshall 1936 2x12 impulses, you can find in the description. And now for the fun part, we're gonna add our overdrive or fuzz. So for this tone I found that using a rat style pedal more often than not works pretty well. I like to control the brightness of it by the filter knob, so clockwise means darker in rat pedals. Kind of cranking the level and just adjusting the drive to get like the saturation you want. So here's what that would sound like. Kind of fucked up that riff, but hey, it is what it is. On the other hand, you have the choice of a fuzz pedal. For this one I like to use the Apocrypha by XE Consulting. It's a great one. I like to keep these settings the way they are, and it also has a noise gate, so that's kind of neat. It sounds something like this. So it still has very much note definition and clarity for being a fuzz. And the third alternative you can have, and I like to blend so that I have one channel panned left with, say, the rat pedal, and the one to the right hard panned with a fuzz. So that's a tip. The third alternative is just an op amp distortion set to these settings. Gets kind of more like a tube, hard-driven tube style sound. So that's it for the sludge tone, I guess. And we're gonna switch to the FC2 kind of sound, made famous by Electric Wizard, of course, and also by Monolord on their first, I'd say, 2 albums. You have kind of similar setup. You have a semi-broken up amp. In this instance I'm using an L12X with these settings. This one is really dark from the get-go, so you have to sort of set it brighter than the amp we had before. I'm using the power amp with kind of the same settings, and for this one I have impulse responses, 2 of them from an orange 4x12, again link in the description. So the raw tone is something like this. You can really hear, like if you play the intro from Funeralopolis. So it's that kind of sound. And the magic happens in the sort of FC2 thingy. I found that the bass from Nalex is, you can see here, it says FC2, but that's from my channel. So this is like a bass big muff sound, I believe, but it works really well for that Boss Hyperfuzz kind of sound. Usually keep these settings like something around here, and you instantly get that muffy mid-scooped electric wizard sound. So that's really neat. If you want to get more of the Monolord sound, I think they have a bit more clarity. So what you can do is add some overdrive. In this instance I'm using the overdiver from Analog Obsession. Just boosting the level a bit, not even that, I would like usually go for 2 o'clock or something. Keep the drive all the way down and boosting the tone. That gives you more of a mid presence, so you get some more clarity. I will show you first without it. And if you engage it. So you have some more mid presence, which really brightens it up. So that's it for the FC2 tone. And lastly we're gonna go over to the kind of, I would say the new trendy fuzz tone or doom tone, using the HM2 Boss pedal. And unfortunately I haven't found a good replica of it, at least not one that's free. So I've sort of made my own, like reverse engineered it. But again, I have the same bass tone as in the FC2 tone, so kind of gainy, but also like not really heavy by any means. So I have constructed my own HM2 pedal using first the mercurial metal area with these settings. And this really starts the HM2 signal kind of. You can see here I'm not using like any distortion from it. That comes later, but it starts off like the overall character of the tone. And then I have emulated the HM2 EQ curve, which would look something like this. Except for this knob, I'm just putting out some 3.5K because I can, and otherwise it sounds a bit too nasty. And we're gonna help that after by using an just a volume boost really to push the amp further. So this is the SN06G, and it sounds like this. So a really classic Swedish death metal sound, which can be used in some instances of like stoner doom. I think that the band Conan might use them. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching the video, and if you have any tips or suggestions, just leave them in the comments, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers!